Here we are. Hello, I'm Christina. It's good to see everyone again today. Well, tonight. It's a very special live. And again, we're outside. So if y'all hear things, just that's how it is. We're outside. Just wanted to forewarn y'all. I want to welcome everyone. Hello, Paul and Adrian and Dan and Diana, October Wraith. And I believe that's everyone who's signed in so far. I'm so happy to see everybody. I know more will be coming in. I want to encourage you to like and subscribe, comment, share, and also links for off-grid desert farming and daily excellence is in the description box. They post a lot more than I do. In fact, daily excellence is going on right now with Mike from Council Time recording. But right now we're going to talk about encounters with angels, and it's not just a thing in your Bible. It's something that people have been experiencing and documenting, and it's in Bible prophecy. We're gonna take a look at that. All right, so we're gonna start with Hebrews chapter 13 verses 1 through 3. Hebrews, that's the New Testament. Somewhere in there. We'll find it. There we are. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body. Boom. All right, so we did a poll. And the question was, have you ever encountered an angel? 51% said yes, and 49% said no. All right, there were definitely some testimonials here. Let me see, look at some of these comments. One said, he is risen, said, I don't know for 100% if they had encountered an angel. She had the appearance of a human female. I've noticed that they often look human. A lot of times. Tracy Littman, as a very little girl, maybe 9 or 8, I was outside playing by myself, and there was a young lady sitting on the stoop of the house next door who I'd never seen before, and she was playing a guitar. She invited me over, taught me a few strings, and then I left. I never saw her again, and according to my mother, there was only a husband and wife living in that house. No young women, teenagers, an older couple was living there. So it does happen. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. There is another side. And the thing with the spirit world is the dimension. And I'm talking about quantum physics of it all. In a way, even though we have eyes, we have a blindness in general to the spirit world because it's of a different, it's a higher dimension than the one that we live on. Okay. We're 3-dimensional. They're more like 5-dimensional. Okay. But they're there. And often if they want to be seen, we can. Okay. A lot of times they just look human a lot of times. But anyway, there are so many documented cases of angels, and especially with the times that we're in right now, that we should be expecting more of that. We're not just sitting ducks here. Okay. We're not. We have more than just a reason to believe. I mean, it's getting biblical around here. Don't just think it's all going to be the bad side. No. We've got a lot. We got a lot going on. Okay. And as far as there being another side, there's even an article by Insider titled, I've studied more than 5,000 near-death experiences. My research has convinced me without a doubt that there's life after death. So what I'm trying to get to the meat of what it says. He came across an article describing near-death experience. It stopped me in my tracks. All my medical training told me you were either alive or dead. There was no in between. But suddenly I was reading from a cardiologist describing patients who had died, then come back to life reporting very distinct, almost unbelievable experiences. From that moment, I was fascinated with NDEs, or near-death experiences. I define a near-death experience as someone who is either comatose or clinically dead, without a heartbeat, having a lucid experience where they see, hear, feel emotions, and interact with other beings. Learning more about these experiences has fundamentally changed my view on the universe. A lot of doctors don't believe, but a lot of nurses will tell you they have been there for last moments and how they see relatives or angels at their bedside as they're getting ready to pass. That brings them peace. It says that near-death experiences have common threads. All right, that they're all unique, but they all have a consistent pattern of events emerging in a predictable order. About 45% of people who have experience this happens, their consciousness, a person can see and hear what's happening around them, which usually includes frantic attempts to revive them. Okay, it goes on. It really does, but I don't want to read the entire article because it's not about NDEs. It's about the fact that there is another side. Now we'll get back. Now, also in the Bible, we mentioned Prince Michael, and some of you may agree, but in Daniel 12, Daniel 10, an angel is fighting the Prince of Persia, which is now the land known as Iran today. And there's only one person that fought with him, and that was Prince Michael. So Prince Michael is fighting, but there's an angel with him. That's in the Bible right there. And then there are the personal testimonies, right? There's more of them. Like not just, there were comments, the documents, but I actually had one myself. I was 16 years old, and I was at the mall with my parents, my brother, my little brother, and I was really abused so bad. And I was sitting there on this bench, and back then the malls were packed, especially on Fridays and on the weekends. And I think that's when we were there. And I was thinking so hard to myself about whether or not I wanted to have children ever. And I was seriously about to make a lifelong decision that I was going to stick with. And I looked back at my parents where they were in the store, and I just thought, oh my God, what if I become them? So I was just about to decide never to have kids. And I mean, never. And then all of a sudden, there was a voice that broke to my right. It says, what could a young lady like you be thinking about so hard? And the way these benches were, they were like thin boards, and they were weak. So you could feel if somebody sat down. I had peripherals, and everything. I'm telling you, nobody was there. I was sitting on that bench by myself, and all of a sudden he was there. And just for that moment, that exact moment. And I said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be a good mom or not. And he goes, are you pregnant? And I said, no. And he goes, are you planning to get pregnant? And I said, no. And he goes, well, if you're already this worried about it, then you're going to be a great mom. And I was just like, that was exactly what I needed to hear. And then he was gone. I don't know where he went to. I never saw him come. I never saw him leave. But I knew without a doubt that I had seen an angel, and I'd had an experience, and that life decision was very important in God's tapestry, apparently, and that, I was going to be a mom someday. And then it was that same year I got saved, and my first vision was of my firstborn son, Micah. But what was funny about that was his name was supposed to be Michael, because his dad's name was Michael, and he wanted a Michael Jr. And my dad's a junior, and he hated it. And so I really didn't like that. I'd had a dream that my baby's name was Michael at 16, and I'd seen my baby. I wasn't even pregnant. I wouldn't be for another 3.5 years, or 3 years. It was 3 years later I got pregnant. But yeah, his name was going to be Michael, but I changed it last second to Micah. Combination of Michael and Christina. That was my first baby. All right. There are other testimonials that are more popular than mine. Like if you know a prophet named Chuck Youngbrandt, he said that a couple of angels had taken the likenesses of him and his buddy to throw off some people pursuing them. And then there was a movie that came out on YouTube recently called Hoovie, where there was something really wrong. They needed to get to the hospital, but the truck got stuck in the snow and they couldn't get it out. And then all of a sudden, these three men appear out of nowhere and push that truck out. And when he looks back, nobody's there. Then there's the it's either Cokerville or Cokeville miracle, where some crazy people had taken a boom boom into the classroom, but they taped off a certain area for the kids to stay back because it annoyed the dude, apparently. But when this thing went off, these kids said that they saw angels all around that device and it protected them. None of those kids were hurt. Not one of those children or their teachers perished. That's a good movie to watch. That's also free on YouTube. But those are true stories. All right. Hello, Lorena, Vicky, Dan, Diana. Adrian says, when I was young, I used to see so much into the spirit world that I asked God to take it down a notch. I've been there, Adrian. I was having so many visions after the trade centers got hit that I literally couldn't function in I couldn't go to work and have my mind in the right place or be around anybody. It got constant for a little while. I had to ask him the same thing. I was like, I'm going to die if I don't start eating and sleeping right, for a little while. But I feel you on that. Seeing into the spirit world. It was yesterday we went to run some errands, right? And it was the funniest thing. I was in this parking lot in my daughter's car waiting for my son and daughter, Micah and Mia, to finish their business in there. And the windows were down. And all of a sudden, I smelled so strong, like as strong as I'm hugging somebody and right up against their neck with my face. That's strong. I smelled my grandpa Robertson's cologne. Like he was right there. And I sniffed in the back seat. Maybe my son had somehow gotten that. No, it wasn't back there. I could smell his scent separate. It was only right over me. I don't wear cologne or perfume. My daughter doesn't have a boyfriend. Nobody rides in that car except for us two girls. And there was nobody else around the car. It was just right there. And I was like, what? Am I getting ready to die? It was like, why am I smelling my grandfather? He's been dead since I was like 15 or 16 years old. It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. Okay, there was also a commenter had said, well, how do you know if it's an angel? Well, there's a couple things. One, they don't try to beat, choke, or kill you. Okay, those are demons playing themselves as angels. They're not, they're the fallen. When it comes to having an angel experience, it's not just, oh, they were there. There's something that's inside of you that is a spirit too, and it connects and somehow knows. Your soul knows, and you can feel your own soul. You can process what your soul is feeling, not just your emotions, but you can, like those gut feelings and whatnot, and yeah, you're going to be trembling at these angels. First of all, they're like freaking tall. They're emanating this light. You're not expecting to see them, in a lot of cases, they are scary, but they would always say, well, fear not. But it's an experience. It's like nobody gets hurt. It benefits you. It's at a critical time when they show up to help. It's completely unexpected. Also, one thing that we need to talk about is the issue of praying to angels. You should not pray to angels. Angels in the Bible will say, hey, I'm a fellow servant like you. Worship God. Prayer is a form of worship, and we don't worship angels. We also don't pray to people that are dead or saints. Even Jesus said, pray to my Father only. All right. So the angels, that's God's grace extended to us. It's not something we're supposed to be like, hey, Angel Michael here, can you come over here and talk with me? That's not really how it goes. You don't pray to Saint Christopher, whom whatever, for your son to safely get across town. You pray to God only. Otherwise, you're praying to another God, a false God. Okay, that's very important. Angels are there to help. Angels they can look human, and sometimes they do have wings. But it's something that I brought up because as the times become more and more dangerous, spiritually, as the battle begins to rage harder and harder, because we're going to get to that final push eventually in these labor pains. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to cry and sob and just give up. You know, if you've ever had a baby, y'all might know what I'm talking about. But there's angels. There's God's grace. He's not just going to leave us out here. And so I want y'all to remember the time of miracles is returning. This is the worst time in human history that ever will be. So believe me, the kind of miracles, the time of miracles is returning with a big bang. All right. So you've got to have faith. All right. You've got trust. You've got to be ready and be like, you know what? I am never alone. No matter what's happening, your kids are never alone, right? There's things that happening that you cannot see. But if you can't tell the difference, you need to pray to God to give you discernment and to open your eyes and give you eyes to see. All right? Because he gives gifts. He really does. Hello, Mock the Freak, Connie, Lynn. All righty. I'm just reading some of the comments. Lorena in Chicago. I just love all of y'all. I'm glad you made the live stream. I'm glad all of you made the live stream, and I'm hoping that it encouraged you tonight to not fear, just no matter how bad it looks. Our God is greater. What is that Bible verse that says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world? Does that sound familiar? Don't forget that. All right. If you want, you can leave your testimonials in the comments. But for now, I wish you all a good night. I hope your dinner, your breakfast, your lunch, your midnight snack is going great. God bless you and your family. I will talk to you soon. Bye.